Hey guys, it's Braden. Today, I'm going to show you how to effectively identify patients with unscheduled treatment, and then how to use Dental Intel's follow-ups to get these patients scheduled for their treatment. If you don't know what follow-ups are or how to use them, check out our video first by clicking on the link on the top right corner. We get it. Remembering to call all the patients you need to follow up with is hard. Follow-ups are here to make your life easier by organizing the calls you need to make today so you can focus on what's important. Every day, you should be reviewing your practice's case acceptance. This is super easy using the Morning Huddle feature. Open your Morning Huddle, scroll down, and you can find treatment acceptance percentage right here in the middle. Every morning in your huddle, use Dental Intel to recap what the previous day's case acceptance was. The top performing dental offices consistently reach 65% case acceptance. How do they do this? I'll show you. First, and by far most important, create custom follow-ups for each patient before they leave the office. Second, identify unscheduled treatment using the case metrics. And third, find unscheduled treatment using the ReCare pie chart. Feel free to pause the video at any time and jump into your own dashboard. So number one, create custom follow-ups for each patient before they leave the office. The easiest way to make sure that you're getting your treatment scheduled with your patients is to make sure you never lose track of them. Whenever a patient comes in and is diagnosed with needed treatment, we want to make sure that it gets scheduled. Ideally, the patient schedules all of their treatment with us before they leave the office. But if they don't, we want to make sure we don't forget about them. If the patient tells you that they need to talk to their spouse or check their calendar before they schedule their treatment, ask them if they're okay with you calling them in a couple days to follow up with them. Then, go to Dental Intel, use the search bar to find the patient's profile, click on Follow Up, and make an unscheduled treatment follow-up so that you remember to call them in a couple days. Do this before they leave the office so you don't forget. Now, you'll get a notification in the top left corner on the day that you selected as a reminder to call them. When you call them on that day to follow up, you can either complete the follow-up after they schedule their treatment, or if they still don't schedule their treatment, reschedule the follow-up date to remind you to call them again in the future. By creating these follow-ups for all of your patients before they leave the office, you'll never forget to call them ever again and follow up with their treatment. Well shoot, what about all those patients that we've forgotten about? No worries, we can go back and find those patients. So step 2, after we get into the habit of making follow-ups for patients before they leave the office, we can identify past unscheduled treatment using the restorative case metrics. Go to the performance board and then select the time period that you want to look at. I'm going to go ahead and look at the patients for this month. Scroll down and go to the restorative elective case metric, and then pull up the source data. We can now find the patients with unscheduled treatment using this column. Generally speaking, we don't need to worry too much about the patients with some amount of treatment accepted, or in other words, scheduled. These patients will be back into the office for the first part of their treatment, and then we just need to make sure that we get them rescheduled while they're here. We're really looking at the patients with none of their treatment scheduled. I can see right here that this patient has none of his treatment accepted, and all of it is unscheduled. I'll click on their name and see if they have an unscheduled treatment follow-up. If they do, that means we're going to get a reminder to call them. We just need to make sure to make that call on the designated date. If they don't already have a follow-up, make a follow-up for them, select a date to call, and make sure to call them on that day to get that treatment scheduled. Again, this is just a backup. Ideally, we should first be striving to schedule treatment while the patient is still in the office. If for some reason they don't schedule their treatment, immediately make a follow-up while they're still in the office as a reminder to call them in the future. For those patients that we forgot to make a follow-up for, we can now get a list of them and make sure that we're following up to get their treatment scheduled. Step number 3, if you're now making follow-ups for all of your patients before they leave the office, and you've gone through your restorative case source data, and you're still hungry for some more patients to call, you can head to the ReCare pie chart. The ReCare pie chart is a list of all patients who are never scheduled to come back into the practice again. Click on a slice of pie to bring up the patients. Now I can click on treatment and filter this list so the patients with the most amount of unscheduled treatment show up first. Again, click on their name, see if they have an unscheduled treatment follow-up, and if not, make them a follow-up and give them a call. So quick recap. In order to be a top performing dental practice, we need to be reviewing our case acceptance daily. We can do this using the Morning Huddle. We should strive to schedule treatment with patients while they're still in the office. If we don't schedule their treatment, we should make a follow-up before the patient leaves the office as a reminder to call them in the future. Once we're doing this, we can then go back and find patients who recently slipped through the cracks using the restorative case source data. Once we get through this list, we can move on to the ReCare pie chart and work on getting those patients' treatment scheduled as well. By following the sequence, you'll dramatically see your case acceptance improve. We don't want to harass our patients, but we do want to help improve patient care. We found that the 2-2-2 method works well with scheduling unscheduled treatment. This is where you call the patient 2 days after they were in the office, then if they still didn't schedule their treatment, call them 2 weeks later, and if they still didn't schedule their treatment, call them 2 months later. By using follow-ups, you can keep track of your patients and make sure that you are reminded to call each of them. You'll see your practice grow, your case acceptance improve, and the patient care you provide skyrocket. Let us know if you guys need any help.